Welcome to Quad Cities. It's the 2022 PDGA Tim Selinske U.S. Masters Disc Golf Championships. I'm Grant Zellner from the PDGA, coming to you from the course at Camden 2. It's the MP40 division, round 3, moving day. And there you see the lay of the land here at Camden 2, heavily wooded and perhaps even more noteworthy, steeply sloped. Dutch Napier opening up a bit of a lead here over Alan Wagner heading into the weekend. Alan, Hermosillo, and Brad Schick also in the mix, as well as several others on chase cards. We'll see what happens. It's hole number 1, a 325-foot par 3 over one of a couple of ravines here on the property. Interestingly enough, those play inbounds everywhere. No water really to speak of in those creeks, but you still don't want to be down there. Over there, there'd be monsters. One of the flatter green areas on the entire course. No mistaking the fact, though, that it is not flat. Rollaways a possibility on virtually every hole here. Dutch Napier with the box. Beautifully done there and gets most of the way up the fairway. Here's Alan Wagner. A little bit unlucky there, catching one of those railroad ties and not able to skip further up the hill. Alan up next. Pretty solid 8 under par second round for Alan. Puts him on the lead card here. Oh my goodness. Off the front of the cage. It's a fairly muted reaction, I think, to a very near ace. Finally, Brad Schick. We've seen Brad's game on display. Pretty good there. CTP, not counting, of course, the basket hit. Pretty common putt there for Alan. Lots of players in multiple divisions down in that basic area of the fairway. Same thing here for Dutch. And now Brad with what often is a CTP here at the first. Excellent drive. Dutch finishes out the par. And now Alan. Look how far back that disc bounced off the front of the cage. Hit that one with authority. All of a sudden, a three-way tie for second, and now we are on to the second. Just 225 feet, this par 3 gives you a couple of options. You can go straight ahead through this left side gap where the drone is now flying, or you can go around that tree to the right. There's a bit of a hyzer line. Get over this little bit of artistic formation, and now the green looks open, looks relatively undaunting, but the slope beyond the pin much steeper than it appears from this angle. Players need to control that speed coming into the area around the basket. Allen with the box. About 10 inches from being perfect, but that disc falls in front of those monoliths. Brad counting on shot shape to slow the disc down coming into the basket. Does a good job. Nose up putter for Dutch Napier. Straight at the basket. Well done. Now Alan Wagner. Gets that disc to settle before going any further down the hill. Alan next. Couple of Allens on the card. I'll do my best to keep them straight for you. Solid birdie there for Dutch. And now Brad Schick. Good putt for Brad. Good putt for Alan Wagner. And Alan Hermosillo with the par. Expect to see a lot of movement on this leaderboard throughout the day.
He's way out of position.
He's going to have to force it, though.
I don't think he can.
Think it's even possible?
It's in the impossible range.
The way Worlds ended last year, you couldn't have wrote that in a book.
After the initial reaction, I had to process.
If you don't even think it's a sport, watching this moment has to get you pumped up.
He's going to need the shot of the century.
I could sense something was about to happen.
Onto the third 363-foot par 3. This is a fun hole to play. A sidearm will work through any of those gaps, shaping around this left to right fairway. If you get the distance right, you can settle it into the front side of the circle. A backhand works even better if you want to get right under the basket, flexing over to the right and then fading as usual back to the left. This green, a little more sloped than it looks. Rollaway's a definite possibility. Brad Schick first off the box. Lots of shape on that disc. Now you see it fading. Oh, excellent. Well done there. Dutch had, I believe, the hot round of the tournament thus far with a 12 under par effort in round 2. Good tee shot there for Dutch. Alan Wagner, body language says he wants this to hold on. Does a pretty good job of it there, pin high. It's 3 A+ efforts here at the third. Lefty throw there for Alan Hermosillo. Off to the right, just needs an up here to take the stress off of this par. That'll be a tester. Now Alan Wagner for birdie. Just up and over the edge of the cage. 2 birdies in a row for Wagner. Likewise, 2 birds in a row for Dutch Napier. Allen with the par and Brad shows us just how close that drive got. Park job. And another birdie. 3 in a row to start the day for Brad Schick. Now to the diabolical 4th. This is a par 3 this week at 500 feet. Playing over the ravine. You can go straight ahead for a little more safety, or you can try to shape the shot to parallel the ravine here late in its flight, hoping to land right around here. Then you've got a relatively easy upshot. I say relatively because it's not here at Camden too. You at least have a bit of an alleyway to a steeply left to right sloping green. Brad actually going a little bit long to the backside of the fairway after it dog legs to the right. Should have a open look. Dutch asking this to go right to the edge of the creek there. That is inbounds. We'll have to wait and see what he's got to work with. Allen shaping the backhand around the corner. This should fade nicely. It does. Maybe an obstructed stance, though. And now Allen with 2 L's. Allen Hermosillo. It was a kind tree kick. Keeps him up on the high side. So here's what Dutch has to work with. Disc managed to trickle all the way to the bottom of the creek, and he probably can't see much from there. Wow. Wow, that's a 10 out of 10 from where he was. Wagner up next. Good soft little upshot. Hermosillo matching the disc to the slope of the fairway very nicely. And now that's Brad Schick, excuse me. Dutch now putting. Beautifully done. Par for Allen squared, a par for Brad. That's a star frame for the card. And here at the 4th, that's no small feat. 0 birdies given up on the day here at the 4th. The 5th is a par 4 at 550 feet. Pretty standard off the tee pad, at least standard for Camden 2. Got to hit the gap. Would like to carry this log right here into this landing zone. Then the fairway bends back to the left. One of the only out-of-bounds lines on the whole course, all the way up the right-hand side. Just 2 paces or so, not even that, from the basket there at the basket. Brad Schick up first. Oh, that big skip hurts. Brad skips him out of bounds. Sort of played that disc through the dog leg. Good shot. Very safe. Just in front of the log. Should have a nice straight angle toward the basket. Alan Wagner, a little more angle on this disc. Oh, until it hit that tree and deflects. Oh, deflects twice, stays in bounds. Actually, we'll have a pretty good shot from there. Well, it hit a tree, but it stayed out in the open, and that's always a good thing here at Camden. I have to pick a line here. Lots of shape, lots of height. Can't complain too much about that kick. Straight down. He'll play for par. Now Dutch Napier. Good angle here. Not quite the height he probably wanted, but that'll work. Wagner up in the area of the circle despite those late tree kicks. Oh, Alan Hermosillo. Never a chance to deflect back in bounds there. Schick wants this to sit before it skips away any further. It does. He'll putt straight at the out of bounds though. Now Allen after the penalty stroke for going OB. Off the top. Okay, looks like he's safe there. Whew. Dutch for birdie. Great putt there from Dutch. Alan Wagner. Courtesy there. Gonna go ahead and putt and get out of the way. Schick is in. And now Allen finishes off a disappointing double bogey. Hurts a little bit.
Paul Macbeth, what a shot inbounds. That is a smash.
It just seems like he's willing his way to the top. Your 2022 PDGA World Champion, Paul Macbeth.
On to the sixth, a par 3 at 350 feet. We're up on the plateau between the two ravines here. Or perhaps over the backside of the second ravine. I get them a little bit confused from time to time. Nevertheless, a relatively flat fairway. Pretty straightforward here at the sixth. Offline there for Dutch. We'll see what he's got to work with. Scrambling, always a challenge here at Camden 2. Schick asking that disc to go. It listens fairly well. We'll have a putt. Now Alan Wagner. Just a little too much turn on that for Allen. Comes up short, but out in the open. Alan Hermosillo. Early tree, but again, out in the open. Can't complain too much. Dutch. Little jumper. Was actually a lot better off than I feared he might be. Allen, just a little bit of a tester now to save par. Here's Alan Wagner. Knew that right out of the hand. Stand still, circle 2 putt. Soft. And into the chains. Here's Brad Schick now. Good solid putt there from Brad. And Alan Hermosillo in for the par. Finally, Dutch Napier will tap in. Dutch playing pretty well. Other guys keeping him from running away. We go down to the bottom of the hill, right next to the ravine to play back up the other side. It's the 7th, a par 3 at 250 feet. These 2 trees acting as goalposts. Pretty short hole, very, very steep. As long as you miss those 2 trees, if you weigh the speed of the disc right, you plow it right into the hillside, pretty good chance at a circle's edge putt at worst. But if you deflect or get something really offline, whew, you get off in the stuff. Here's Brad illustrating what I just mentioned. Not great on the line, but because of the hill, the disc eventually comes to ground and he's not actually that far away from the basket. Alan Wagner next to play. Pretty shot there, just like you draw it up. Anything you can do, I can do better, says Dutch Napier. Stand still from Alan Hermosillo. Off that late tree. Should have a pretty good look. Here's Brad. Furthest away putt falls. Always a good sign. Spins that around the edge. Gets Alan Hermosillo back to even par. Alan Wagner in, Dutch Napier, star frame here at the 7th. Seventh played is the easiest hole on the day, and we move off to the 8th. One of the more challenging holes in round 3, a par 3 at 500 feet. Playing here along the ridge between the ravines. This hole bends back to the left and leaves you with a couple of narrow alleyways here just before you get to the area around the basket. Brad Schick flexing that shot over and now back. That roll actually may not have been unfavorable, might have actually opened up a bit of an angle for him over there. Alan Wagner. This has a lot of heat on it. Look at this shot. All the way around the corner. There's the basket right there, just downhill from the basket. That's a great drive here at the 8th. Dutch Napier, big flaring skip. Pretty common right there. Pretty common landing zone when you execute perfectly here. And now this is interesting. Alan Hermosillo with the roller. It's a little fortunate there. Up a tree trunk a little later on the fairway, and just now I lose sight of it. Oh, wow. Wonder how long that took to find. That's a pro flex right there, using a green disc for a roller in the woods. Alan skipping out and around the basket. Now Brad Schick, as I mentioned, may have actually gotten a little bit of a more open. Yeah, he did indeed. Had several alleyways to choose from, was able to pick one there. And you see now from Dutch's vantage point, yes, an alleyway doesn't mean it's a wide one. Soft jumper, and we'll be content with the par. Alan Wagner with the best look of the bunch. Everybody taking their turns now here at the 8th. Good solid job there. Alan Wagner now. We are to the 9th, a par 3 at 250 feet. The challenge here pretty straightforward. Relatively narrow fairway up and over several mounds and then to a basket placed on the front side of a downslope. Heard several loud cheers through the woods here at the 9th over the course of the week. Ace run's a definite possibility, but if you don't hit something next to the basket, you pay the price. And that is beautifully done by Brad. Softly to the ground, unable to skip further down the hillside. Alan Wagner up. Not bad there. Not bad to hit any of those trees right next to the basket, provided your disc has already scrubbed off most of its speed. Dutch Napier. Again, a beautifully weighed and measured drive there. Perfectly to the pin. Alan, an unfortunate tree kick that'll make birdie very difficult. Actually, nope, not even really going for it from that angle. Don't blame him a bit. So content to settle for the par here at the 9th. Dutch in for the birdie. Alan Wagner in for the birdie. And Brad Schick all in with birdies here to close out their opening 9 on moving day. Certainly doing some moving. We'll get a good look at how things stand across the field now, here through half of round 3. Still a lot of golf to be played here at the 2022 Tim Selinske U.S. Masters Disc Golf Championships from Quad Cities. And we'll be back with back 9 coverage here of the third round in the MP40 division right here on the PDGA channel on YouTube. Thanks for watching and stay tuned.